You're about to listen to an excerpt of Secret City Geek Lab broadcast on KTSTFM.com every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. For more news, reviews, and interviews from the world of geek, visit the Geek Lab at secretcitycomedy.com/geeklab or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/secretcity. Enjoy the show.
When I read the script, I really was excited about it, mainly because I knew I was going to cry. I knew my whole family could see this movie and enjoy it. I've never done anything where I would not be embarrassed at all for any member of my family to see. It felt very earnest, very sweet. I've never done a true story before. I think that was very appealing. And then just, I mean, everybody loves a good sports movie. It's sweet and real, and it's about, you know, finding what your dream is and then going after it, because there is sort of a discovery of dream in it as well. Like, JB starts sort of somewhat misguided and trying to figure out what his next conquest should be, and then he realized his conquest isn't really just a conquest, but it's a spiritual journey, and I think that is unexpected and therefore interesting. The ease at which John and I relate to each other, and all the characters relate to each other, is really important, because it's not just a sports movie. It is about these interpersonal relationships and how they relate to each other to come together for this, like, common goal. Brenda, she's a little bit of a toughie, but honestly, for a character that John's playing, JB, you need to have someone who can lay down the law, because anybody less than that is just going to get steamrolled. So I think that was imperative for the character. She's smart. She has her own opinion about things. She also has a great compassion for the human spirit, and she's a caretaker of people. She's a doctor. John and I have known each other for many years. He's a great guy. He's, as I said, a comedy player and a comedy fan. So it's fun to have someone on the set that enjoys doing bits and, not taking things too seriously in between takes and in between work. But yeah, I think he's, the second the cameras are rolling, he delivers and is masterful at stillness and playing through that stillness, raw emotion. So I always I enjoy watching him.
He doesn't know the language, he doesn't know the game. This is the first time he's come to some place like this. There's a huge cultural difference between the US and India, but somehow you just see Rinku adapting is very fast. Just not letting it. He doesn't take it as pressure. He takes it as a challenge and just pushes through it, which is very different from his Dinesh, who's the other guy who comes to play baseball. So, yeah, I think the main thing about Rinku is that fact that he does not get beaten down, doesn't let pressure get to him. He'll keep going, keep smiling. He's always a funny guy. He's also very sure about himself. He's one of those guys who knows who's pretty sure about his future and believes in it, and so he believes in himself without getting like too cocky about it. Just naturally, intrinsically, he just believes in it. Having someone like Madhur and John and Peter Bash, these guys are great actors, but they're even better being a co-actor to you, because they'll give you that space, they'll give you that opening to say what you have to do, what you have to react the way you have to. They'll give you that reaction, so you react that way. So it's helpful. It's good. He kind of saw something that he might not have seen in most people in a very, very long time, which is that innocence, which is that simple-mindedness, which is that readiness to just, try to pick up anything they can and give everything they have. I think that's strong enough for a relationship to change anybody. And JB changed just as well. He changed from, he became more accepting. He became more human in many ways. Suddenly he opened many doors to himself. Brenda came into his life just because suddenly his doors were open. Taking India in as an American, if the first few days are very hard. It's not very easy because it's a whole different situation there. It's completely different now. Over and above that, trying to get into the system, figure all that out, get all these kids from all these places to come and do this, host a reality TV show. That's not very easy for an Indian to do. And this guy is just coming in from America, doing all this, and then that's really and finding these two kids, finding these two kids who don't play anything to do with any ball game. They're javelin throwers. Finding them out of all these so many millions of kids in India, it's not, and having them finally come into you actually get a tryout and everything. I don't think I think it's very hard to do. I think it's a very big deal. He's just a gentleman. He's an awesome person. Okay, very friendly, very professional also at the same time. And he's very intelligent. He knows his blockings, his everything beforehand. He has it in his head. For me, I've seen good actors act, and you could see that he already has everything in his head ready to go. He's always ready.
I was really surprised that such a great story had not made it to the people, and I was really interested in because when I found out about the two guys and how different their personalities are and how they were pushed into the same situation and they both came out trumps and they're such great friends, but they're so different people, and I love that chemistry between the two. I was really excited. He's very innocent, very very pure, very rooted to his home. Like the other day when he came down to the stage to be with us, it was like 2 hours after he landed, and I was talking to him, and he was like, "Man, I miss home already." So he's very shy and he always smiling and very pleasant personality altogether. So I had never played a guy like that. This is the most physically demanding film I've ever made in my life, and I've been working in films for like 15 years now. I'm young, but I've been in the profession a while, and this is the most physically demanding role. I have done a Bollywood sports film before. It wasn't that hard. It was about cricket, but this has been really hard in the sense that I've had to train physically first to buff up and stuff, and also then later on do baseball training. I'm glad that I have a chance to work with somebody who's very similar in the way that the kind of work he's doing, and he's working internationally and being exposed to those kind of situations that I was like 4 years ago with Slumdog. So he's had similar kind of experience, like boom, and you're there. Sports movies in India, we have a long history of sports films that have done really, really well. And just the whole fabric of the story is it's about the underdogs, two kids. It's just an amazing story, and I think it would do really, really well in India.
Being able to actually go to India gives the film a whole level of authenticity and sort of a reality. Like being in India, like you can't duplicate that. You can't replicate it, on a soundstage, the backlot. So it really is great. You just There's something very real and vibrant about the place that, we hopefully captured in this film. I think JB and Ash are business partners, and JB is sort of the idealist, the dreamer, and Ash is the counterpoint to that in some ways. He's the pragmatist. He's got a family. He's got kids. He's got real life sort of realities that he's dealing with, and JB's just on this kind of tear to like go to India and find 2 kids and bring them to America, turn them into baseball. So it's a nice juxtaposition and it's a nice tension between the two of them. And yet they respect each other, and they have a mutual respect for each other. But I think Ash is the guy he's got a lot on the line here if JB's harebrained scheme doesn't work, This movie has so much heart, and John is the perfect person to play that sort of the guy who is initially completely self-involved and then sort of opens up throughout the course of this movie and learns how to actually become a father to these boys, and that journey is, I think he's great as the person to sort of take us through that journey. All my friends in India who I told about this movie, they were like, that's a great story, and not many people really knew about the story, not many people were aware that this had happened. So I think this kind of cross-pollination of a U.S.-Indian story is kind of great, and I think people on both sides of the water will love this story.
This character, Dipesh, is like same underdog. He came from a state, a country where baseball is not at all popular at all, and but he like it. He's passionate about it. He knows that he is physically not eligible to play the game, but because of his love, he become a coach later. Everyone will relate to it. I mean, whether you are in sports, or whether you are in culture, whether you are a doctor, whether you are an engineer, the struggle is always there to you have a talent, you always want to reach the peak, and you have to prove yourself, and you have to show what you can, which is possible for you.
This was a production of Secret City Geek Lab on KTSTFM.com. We broadcast every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Visit the Geek Lab at secretcitycomedy.com/geeklab, or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/secretcity.